Okay, let's talk about live tiles and notifications. So if you look at the tiles on Windows 8, Windows Phone, the whole idea behind the tiles is to keep it alive, right? To bring information to you even while the application is not running. This has a unique effect on the user. Number one, you have a sense of continuity with that application. You have something that's happening with the application. New information is being brought in. Your desktop is more interesting and more lively, right? Rather than static icons sitting doing nothing. This keeps your desktop quite alive. And most importantly, new things that are happening are pushed to you even while the application is not running. So, for example, new events that may be happening in a news application, some weather forecasts, emails, calendar items. So you do not have to run the application, they are there. Now, there are push notifications in other operating systems, but those are not tiles, they are toast notifications, and they are very intrusive, right? They pop up, they make noise, and it's not the same experience as on live tiles. We have toast notifications also, right? But the guidance is that you should use toast notifications in only certain events, not always. And live tiles is a better way of pushing information to the user because it's non-obstructive. It's there when the user sees it, and it brings the latest information to him. So, if you look at the way you can update the tiles, okay, so if you look at the tiles that were there with 7.5, you do not have much of an selection criteria. You just had one tile, right? Now with 8.0, you have various tile sizes that you can play with. Even in terms of the templates, you have more templates in 8.0. We'll talk about that. Now, applications can create the main tile that is on the desktop by clicking on the tile and pinning it to the home screen. So that's the main application tile. You cannot create it programmatically. The user has to instantiate that. Secondary tiles, you can create up to 5 of them, can be created in code. And I showed you the example in the Windows weather application where you can create from code a secondary tile and you can put it to the home screen. Right? The tiles can be updated either from application code or through a background agent or through push notifications. So you have 3 ways of updating your tiles. When you talk about the tile templates, you have new tile templates that are available in Windows Phone 8. Previously, I had only one tile template that allowed you to flip the tile. That's still present. With Windows Phone 8, you have the iconic tile, and then you have the cyclic tile. The iconic tile is very much in line with the Microsoft UI design. It's very simple, very clean, very typographic. So it takes an icon, it takes some text, and that's it. In the cyclic tile, you can put up to 9 images that are going to be rotated for you with a nice animation. Now, these images have to be in your application package. They cannot be downloaded from the remote site. What you could do is you could run a background agent and update these on a periodic basis. But by design, the tiles are going to be loaded from your application package. In terms of file sizes, we saw this in the morning. You have 159 by 159, 336 by 366, and then 691 by 336. In case of the white tile, For iconic, you do not have an image because it uses the same medium image for the white tile also. In terms of content, right, you can provide various parameters for your tile template. Not all of them are mandatory, but you can choose what content you want to put in. So the flip tile, okay, the small image does not flip. It just has a notification icon on it. The medium tile can flip and can bring the background image and the content. Even the wide tile can flip. In terms of the cyclic tile, even the cyclic tile does not rotate. It just has one image. The medium and the wide tiles, they can flip. Now, what we do with the medium tile is we scale the white tile or crop it so that you have a good experience, right? So you don't have to provide us different images for medium tiles and white tiles. For the iconic, you get an image, icon image, you get the title, you get the count, and you get the text. Right? As I mentioned earlier, application tiles have to be user initiated. So the user goes to the list of applications and says pins to start. They cannot be created from application code. Also, the template cannot be changed programmatically. So it is defined in the manifest. You cannot change it. Once you design your application and you deploy your application, you cannot change the application icon template. You can change the icon, not the template. The secondary tiles can be programmatically created, right? And you can change the template also. Because since it's in code, you can change the template too. We provide you starting icons that you can replace with your own. So you can take these as a starting point and then you can replace your own icons with your own assets as you go along. Right? So if you see here, you have the flip cycle. You have 3 of them, small, medium and large. And then for the iconic, you have small and medium. Clear? The way you set the application template is from the app manifest. You have a designer. So here you choose the template, what type of template you want, and then accordingly you will provide the images. You also indicate whether you want to support large tiles or not. Clear? I'll come back to this. So you can update your tiles with local APIs, and this is not push notification, this is local API, right? So you can create, you can update, or you can delete the second tiles also from code. So the way you do that is you have the tile class, whichever type of tile you want. So if you want a flip tile, you create the flip tile data class, you instantiate that, and then you set the properties for that tile. So in here we have the background image coming from our local folder, right? You have the small background image, you have again the background 1, background 2, and then you have the white backgrounds. And then you call the shell tile.create with the URI. Now keep in mind you're creating a secondary tile, right? So you need to provide a way for the application to come back to your page, right? And so this is the URL that is going to be looked at when you are coming back from the secondary tile. So this indicates to you which page you want to go to and from where you are coming. So you could come to the recipe page from the main page, or you could come from the tile. So this URI is now indicating that you are coming to the page from the secondary tile, right? And this is important. Why? Because you may want to have the same kind of experience of going back from the secondary tile to the closed state. You can also update the data. So over here you can get the list of tiles. The first tile, the default tile, is always the application tile. Even if it has not been pinned to the start, there is something in the list called the default tile. That's the first tile. And then the rest of the tiles are secondary tiles. Right? So this is the first tile, so we are getting the first or default. Right? And then we are updating the title to the text. And this is a template for the iconic tile. We are updating the iconic tile with certain new images. Now, in terms of updating the tiles, with 7.5 we had an 80 KB limit on the tile to download the tile. Now we have a 150 KB limit. You can download bigger tiles. Initially it was only 30 seconds time limit. We are giving you 45 seconds. And in terms of the time refresh, right, it is 60 minutes. So what you can do is you have something called the tile schedule, which you can run on a periodic basis to update the tile. And the only way to update the tile is from a remote server. You cannot do it from a local file. So if you see here, you have the update recurrence as one time, every hour, every day, every week, or every month. So the minimum is every hour. So you create a new shell tile schedule. Right? This is going to initiate this schedule. You update the interval, and you say the interval is going to be every hour. You provide the URI from where you want to bring the image, and then you start the schedule. Now this is something that you could generate at the server side, and every hour you could have a new image generated on the server, and then your schedule is going to just go and pick up that image and update it on the client. Clear? Then you can do that for secondary tiles also. So if you loop through the shell tile active tiles, you will get all the tiles that are there in the list. You can also update from a background agent, as I mentioned to you. So the tile schedule needs to, the limitation with the tile schedule is that you can only update it from the web URI. The background agent can update it from the local application also. So you can have a list of tiles in your application and you can update it from there. Also, in contrast, push notifications need to have a server backend that is going to do some processing to push the tiles to your application. We'll come back to these demos in a while. I just want to cover the thing. Now with the lock screen, as I mentioned to you, we give you a lot of power, right? You can change the background. Yes?
Sir, in case of those push notifications, what could be the minimum time? For example, we can update those in 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or there should be only 1 hour.
So that's not for push notifications. Push notifications execute on the server. Yes? This is a shell tile. This is like a scheduler that will run minimum every hour. So it can run every hour, it can run every day, once a week, like that. And you choose the schedule that you want. So minimum is 1 hour. Not less than that. So with the lock screen, we give you a lot of power. You can choose the application that is going to provide you the background image. Like for example, on my phone, I have Bing set. And if you know, Bing has a new image every day. And that gives me the capability of having a new lock screen wallpaper every day. Right? I can choose the application that is going to provide me the content on the lock screen. It could be the calendar, it could be the mail, it could be any application, it could be Facebook for that matter. Right? And then I choose the applications that are going to be on the notification. Previously, with Windows 7.0, you do not have these capabilities. It was very limited, right? So this shows you the lock screen applications. If you go into settings, lock screen, you can choose the background provider, you can choose the content provider, and you can choose the applications that you want to put onto the lock screen. Now what if you want to create a lock screen yourself? What you could do is you can create the tokens and you can provide the lock screen icon, right, to the, you put this in the WM app manifest. Now unfortunately there is no UI to do this. You will have to do this in code, and the criteria is that you need this icon to be 24 by 24 pixels. Now what if you want to, if you see the new lock screen, so you have an image and you have a count property, right? So if you want to provide the count, so this is the image that you are providing, and if you want to provide a count property, then you need to provide then the extension. So you take this extension and you put it in the manifest file. Right? Then when you update your primary tile, when you update the primary tile, even if the primary tile is not pinned to the home screen, when you update the primary tile from code, that information is going to be put onto the application. So if your application is sitting on the lock screen and you are updating the application tile, that information is going to be shown on the lock screen. Clear? And this again is reiterating the simulation dashboard. What if you want to take your application and make it as a background provider for the lock screen? What do you do? So you, again in the manifest file, you declare that you want your application to be a background provider, right? And then in the code, right, number one, you need to request the access. So you need to take permission saying I want to add this application as a background provider. And if the user says yes, then you will be allowed to add the application as a lock screen provider. And then you indicate that the lock screen is providing the current application. If it is providing, then you set the image URI to the lock screen. Because in your application, you could be a provider, but it is not sitting on the lock screen, right? So you check here, if it is the provider, then you update the lock screen image using this URI. So here when you request the permission, you get this system message. When the user selects yes, then your application can provide content to the lock screen. So in terms of accessing local images, there are two methods. One is the Apex method and the app data, right? Both do the same functionality, it's just a different way of, and we cover this more in the file and storages section, which we will do later on. So this will become more clear then when you do file and storage, what is the difference between these two. So let me walk you through some demos. So I have shown you the lock screen notification earlier. Let's run it again. Run the application. So here I can create a secondary tile, right? And I can pin the secondary tile to the main screen, and this I can do it through code. If I come back here and I click on Contoso Cookbook and I say pin to start, this is going to create my main application tile. So this is my main application tile and this is the secondary tile, right? So if I click this, it starts the application. If I click on this, it takes me to the Chinese recipe because it is deep linked to the application. It takes me directly to the proper page. Okay. And if you look at the code, so we have the set pin bar. So in here, right, I check if the tile is existing or not. If not, then I create a new URI, right? I have a pin button. So this is the pin that you see at the bottom of the app bar. So if I'm already existing, I say unpin this. If it is not existing, I allow you to add it to the pin bar. So if you run this application again, alright, I click on Chinese. So if you see here, I have a different icon. So I can in the code allow you to pin it or unpin it, right? And if you look at the app bar, so you have the class is in tile and then set group tile and then you provide the group name and the URI. I can pin it, and then we should have, let's stop this. If you see this scheduled task agent, right? Here I am scheduling the background agent to be invoked, right? And then this is going to run independently of the application in the background and is going to continue to update the tile. So it's going to pick up the tile. If you see here, if it's a main tile, then it's going to pick up a random number and put from 1 to 9. So if you see this here, it keeps changing the number on the, and this is happening in the background, even while the application is not running. Come again. There are certain limits on the background task, okay, when they run and how they run. So it's not that it's just going to continuously run. There is a time limit when, I think it's minimum 30 minutes. Yeah. So any questions on this? I don't know if I can show you this. So if you come to settings, it's a lock screen. I can choose the application that will be my lock screen, right? And then I can choose the application that will be providing me the content. So let's say I could have the messaging application, let's say. And then add new applications. And then in Visual Studio, okay, here it is. So we have the simulation dashboard. Get rid of this, and then I can lock the screen. So you see here, I have the screen locked, and I get the image from the Bing application. Now this is a cached image because I'm not connected to the net. If I was connected to the net, then I could have seen the latest image coming here. Okay. So this is the lock screen, and you can have your own application also provide the lock screen images. So any questions? No questions?
Can you pin a website as a tile?
I don't think so you can pin websites to tiles. You can pin them within the Internet Explorer control itself as a page. But I don't think so you can pin a website as a start icon. It doesn't work. You have your own application tiles. Yes?
So if we have something like a location tracking application, so we arrange a place to notify, right? I want the application to notify the user. So in that, so I don't need to use the background agent. I should keep tracking the location.
So if you have a background tracking application, then probably that background tracking application is already running in the background, right? So if it is running in the background, then you would be monitoring the geo coordinates, and if you reach a certain geo coordinate vicinity, then you will raise the event from your application itself. You don't need a background task. It is already running in the background. So that's a background task, but your geo tracker is continuously running. Yeah, he could have moved on anywhere else. Yeah. How a push notification is done? So push notifications are initiated from the server, right? We will talk about push notifications inshallah in the next month sessions when we talk about the server-side story. So you'll see how we can use push notifications to send messages to Windows 8, Windows Phone from the same application, iPhone, things like that. Any other questions? No? Okay, I have one question. How many applications will I see on the store in the next month? 1, 2. No, half. We'll try. Okay, 3, 2.5. That's it. Come on, guys. 100 people and 2.5 applications. Come again? It's easy. Come on. It's not that difficult. You're all C# developers, you said.
Can you share your data with us?
The code and
Our demo and presentation.
So we are recording it, inshallah, probably in a week's time. After we clean it up, we should have it online.
through our email.
Yes, so you have registered, right?
Yeah.
So we will, inshallah, send you an email
That
back.
will be great help.
Yes, inshallah. But there are a lot of resources already there on the net.
By this we can revise the
Definitely,
same
yeah,
thing.
yes, yeah.
Right?
There are a lot of resources already on the Windows Phone website that you can. And by the way, these sessions are also going to cover 28th and 29th. There is a 2-day training that is happening. It's going to be a 2 full-day training on Windows 8.
Left, where?
It's online. It's online. It's just sessions. Yeah. So you can go to Microsoft Virtual Academy, and you can find it there. Or if you look up my tweets, it's in my tweets also.
Save that on everything.
More. Yes, the content is the same, but they are going to cover more sessions also. Yeah. But the one we are going to do next month is unique. So I really encourage you all to attend that, because that we are going to talk about, cross-platform, how to write applications cross-platform, how to use services to gather data, retrieve data, how to tie to a database, things like that. Push notifications. Okay. So we didn't come to a final count. How many? 100? Depends on Nokia. Why is it dependent on Nokia? You don't need a phone to develop, Yahi. Come on. You have Visual Studio, you have the emulator, it's more than enough.
You need to download this Windows 8 at least.
You need Windows 8, yes. You need Windows 8. You need a Windows 8, you need a good PC. All right.
Developed in years 2012.
2012. Yes. But it's available free of charge. The good news is we have a lot of competitions that are coming up. Right? There are competitions both from Mobile, they're going to talk about that. You have competitions from Nokia, and we have competitions from Microsoft. So the next few months you will see a lot of competitions happening and a lot of dollars to be won. Believe me, a lot of good things coming out. Right? So we have local competitions that are happening. We are giving Jarir vouchers out. We have Nokia who have applications coming. We've been doing these competitions, I think, for the 2-3 months, and we've been giving out phones. We've been giving out Jarir vouchers. So there's a lot of things that are happening. And with the Windows Phone 8, there's no more excuse. You have Arabic, you have everything. So there's no more excuse. Right? So let's see some good applications come out from Saudi.